Hey guys, Boardnell back with you. On this video I will be talking about the second episode of I Know What You Did Last Summer, the Amazon original show, and the episode is amusingly called It's Not Just for Dog Shit, which I'll be honest, I didn't quite catch what that was a reference to in the episode. Maybe it was just some weird sort of superficial shit that Margot was talking about at some point, or maybe it just had to do with the animal theme in this, because we see some more like messages being sent to, I guess, Allison / Lennon, but we'll say Allison since that's who it is really in this episode, as well as the message on the mirror. We also see her get a goat's head in her room randomly, and that leads to like a Godfather reference later, and Margot in a pretty cringeworthy line, although quite funny as well. She comments, "Oh, old movies are so boring," and it's sort of funny because, relatively speaking, you don't think of The Godfather being that old, but then I guess it is getting on for 50 years now, so kind of is older, but you still wouldn't necessarily jump to that as that sort of era as being like really old movies. But anyway, Margot just being ignorant sort of youth there. But so you've got that stuff going on. You've got Lennon, or I keep doing it, I'll call her Allison just because that's who she really is, even though she's pretending to be Lennon. But you have her obviously telling the group about that stuff. You have her, I think, just overall dealing with things, living this sort of lie, and her interactions, her sort of awkward like interactions with Dylan. And they do some stuff with sort of this double sort of thing with her, because, for example, when she's talking with Dylan, there is like, it's an awkward conversation, and because he's still very traumatized from what happened, the incident, and has like detached himself from the group really, he doesn't really want anything to do with them, and is all very harsh, saying, well, the police should know, and this sort of thing. And then, bearing in mind it's really Allison who's talking to him, that's hard for her, because she obviously is the one who has feelings for him, but he, assuming it's Lennon, is a bit harsher towards her. And the sort of crucial stuff in the flashback is then we see then it was actually the dad's idea for her to pretend to be Lennon, because she goes home the night of the incident and she comes clean with him, gets really emotional, apologizes, says, I know you can never forgive me, and I'm going to do the right thing, I'm going to turn myself in. But he talks her out of it, and he actually comes up with the idea. He suggests, what do you think would happen if your friends found out the truth, or if that group found out the truth? So he actually comes up with the idea of her faking her identity, pretending to be Lennon, and that they stick to the story. Then Allison has just run away, gone missing, which obviously there's some credibility to that because of her being upset over the whole Lennon Dylan thing. So we get more stuff with the dad and with his sort of life, and some of the stuff there with him and Allison. So it does make sense, even though it's a bit weird to hear him calling her Lennon sort of thing. And they sort of do explain that. They show that it's his idea, and there's, I think that stuff is the strongest in the episode. I think I do because first of all, the actress playing Alison, I think is pretty good. I think she's pretty natural, and she sells what the character's going through pretty well. Because there's a scene with the dad, where she's kind of getting very emotional, and I think she is very good in this episode in general, and she gets to do different things because in a way they play on this angle of her kind of taking on Lennon's life, because obviously she's got her social circle, and she's obviously, I think you see like a difference in appearance, so it's then she has to take on her style as well. So I think she's like has fun with that, the actress. The actor playing the dad, it isn't very good. He's a bit sort of like mumbling and one note. He's sort of like a charisma, like less for like minus charisma version of Keanu Reeves, because he has like sort of Keanu Reeves type like appearance, but like less charisma, and he's very stilted and just very bland in the way he delivers things. We find out a subplot with him where he's been seeing the local police woman, and apparently it's been going on for years, but he's never told his daughters. And at this point, she's just happy for it to be a physical relationship. And it is a bit awkward, actually. It's because it's when they start, kissing each other and getting sexual. It's sort of, it is quite aggressive, because like he's sort of shoving her against like the filing cabinet, and it's a little bit on the weird side. But I guess if they're saying they have that sort of relationship, then that sort of makes sense. But this episode, I think, probably confirms that it's going to be at times a very soapy show where they're going to lean into that sort of stuff, that sort of like drama, which is going to drive. Obviously, I think the characters are going to have these like dark secrets, but how much that's actually going to play into the case and the mystery of the show, I'm not quite sure. But anyway, there's stuff going on with Johnny. He has just got engaged to this older guy who's his coach, and there's stuff with that where there's a bit of heat with Margot, because she's like been ribbing him and like mocking him on social media. Like apparently they slept together, and afterwards she embarrassed him in some memes. So they sort of make up, and they start, because she does shoots and what have you, and so he sort of helps her with that. But then she's kind of like pushing him to follow his dreams and not just move away because he's getting married, sort of thing. And so there's little bits of drama. I think it's an okay episode. I think definitely the Alison stuff is the best. There's a few. I think they're a bit heavy with the pop culture references, because there's quite a heavy like Chris Martin reference at one point, and also, I mean, a lot of the drama is over whether Lennon, as they think she is telling the truth, because she obviously shows them the pictures of what was left in her room, and that Riley sort of questions this, and also, I mean, Margot questions if she's faking it, basically to sort of look for attention, that kind of thing. Because there's this weird sort of fake out where you've got this character, like this almost like sort of rough redneck style woman who's working for the father, and at one point, like, she tosses a fish, like, aggressively, and I think it's meant to be like this moment where you think, oh my god, it's another sort of like message being sent from whoever. And no, it just turns out to be the maid, the servant, whatever her role is. But there is like one really bad line of dialogue, and it's in the scene with Dylan and Alison / Lennon, and that's he makes this. Dylan makes this line about there are no accidents, there's only karma, which I think is a really, really clunky, sloppy, like soap of the week style line. It's like very melodramatic. So I think there's ups and there's downs. I could definitely feel like the soap aspect being pushed a little too far, and definitely some cheesy dialogue in melodramatic moments. And I think the characters are solid enough, the cast are solid enough. For what this is, I think it's pretty watchable, and I think when you had the drama with Lennon, that was the strongest stuff of the episode. Now obviously there's going to be further sort of reveals and things as we go on, but anyway, speaking of that, to talk about the end of the episode, which I guess is sort of set up because of Johnny and this sort of engagement out of the blue, which takes like the rest of the gang off guard. His like partner is killed quite brutally. In fact, they sort of choose their moments of gore, I guess, quite well on this show, because his throat is sort of caved in by because a weight, basically, because he's been doing like weightlifting on the bench. I forget what it's called now, but anyway, and then Johnny comes along and there's a struggle. He's thrown off the balcony and he starts screaming for help, but then you see him hit with like a weight. And again, it's a pretty full-on blood effect, actually. I didn't expect these moments of quite strong gore in this show. And the end of the episode is actually quite the hook, because what happens is the rest of the characters get sent this live video, and it's of Johnny being killed. Basically, he's being choked and you see lots of blood, and it's sort of slashed, really, like his throat's being slashed, and it's this really good sound effect as well, and it's center, and we see them reacting, and I mean, Alison screams, Margot screams. It's a bit OTT, to be fair. I think that's again the soap aspect coming in, but it's a nice scene. It's an effective end of the episode that at least gets you sort of intrigued for the next episode. But yeah, it looks like Johnny's been killed off, one of the main characters, or at least potentially one of the main group anyway, and that's the big cliffhanger. So not much to go on really in this episode about who might be involved in all this, but that's the episode anyway. The second episode. I think it's fair to say I'm a bit indifferent to it because of the soap aspects, because I think the thing with soap operas is they have to be quite entertaining and OTT for them to like really grab me, but obviously there's still the mystery like sort of slowly burning along, and it was a good ending. As I said, the Lennon stuff may be the best, but yeah, I'll check out episode 3 anyway. That'll be up in the coming days. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Please like and subscribe. Share me out on social media and look out for more TV reviews coming soon. But thanks for listening and goodbye.